So we're in mid-November, and somebody recently asked me a question about pricing for advent calendars. They didn't want to be stuck with something that didn't sell. And my response to them was what I'm sharing basically as this video, because if one person could use help with it, I think it's a good question, and I think other people can use help with it. So, first things first, if you're not familiar, an advent calendar typically is like a box that you get with 25 different gifts. You open one every day leading up to Christmas. Now, there's also like 12 days, there's 25 days, but basically that's the premise. Okay. And the reason she was asking that is because this is an item that's not only seasonal, but also kind of very time specific, right? So, like, the whole point of this is leading up to Christmas or whatever holiday for a couple days, with that being the end point. But here's the thing, not only because I've done this before, and we're going to go into Keepa, but people buy things beyond just the date that that product suggests you're supposed to be completed with, right? And so you can also give advent calendars as gifts beyond the holidays. And don't just take my word for it. Again, you're going to look at the data. But basically, her concern was, I don't want to be stuck with these products. And I want to break down some financials with you in why you have to think a little bit differently, especially for unique situations like this that are seasonal and time constraints. Okay. So, right off the bat, I'm just telling you from personal experience, advent calendars sell beyond December 1st if it was a 25-day advent calendar, and well past that. Now, the price may go down, sure, but if it's a high demand item, people still like giving them out as gifts or using them halfway through, etc. And again, it's all about the data. So my take is this: you're never going to know exactly when that turn is going to be. And all of a sudden this year, people are going to be willing to, sellers are going to drop the price and people aren't going to be willing to pay as much for something like an advent calendar. Now, even if you have data, it does change every year, supply and demand, trends, and things like that. But to me, if you're finding a quality product and you can make a really good ROI leading up to that date or that turning point, I think it's worth the risk. And here's some numbers to back up my theory. So let's say you buy 100 of these products for a round number. And let's say on the first 60 of them, you make $10 profit, okay? 100% ROI, which is not unrealistic for this time of year for novelty products like this. So 60 products at $10 profit, you're up $600 at this point, okay? Now the remaining 40, supply and demand, the time of year, maybe it took a while to get checked in. Let's say you lost $2 a piece on them, okay? So instead of making 10, now you're losing $2 a piece. You drop it to a price that you can offload them because you don't want to sit on them and lose more money. So on those last 40, we're losing $80 total. Overall, big picture, we're still making $520, okay? On a $1,000 spend, 52% ROI. So what I kind of would encourage her or all of you to think about, if you're in this predicament of I don't want to buy too much and be stuck with them, if they're going to sell and the data kind of leads to that, even if you have worst case scenario and sell some of them at a loss, you have to kind of look at this scenario as a big picture, grouping it all together instead of individually item by item by item, because of the uniqueness and the novelty and seasonality and timing of this product. Okay. And so that's what I would suggest. Don't worry about if as long as they're going to sell, even at a loss, take a chance and hold on to that information for next year and adjust accordingly. And I would never suggest going too deep that you can't afford, or if you have no idea what you're doing. But if you know they're going to sell and you're just worried about not getting top dollar or the price changing or tanking, you got to roll the dice a little. There's no perfect way of knowing. At least that's my approach. And now, like this year, I'm coming back to advent calendars I sold last year, and I'm going to get my hands on them, ship them all into Amazon for FBA. Some might not get there in time, some may, right? I'm okay. I'm willing to roll that dice, especially if data proves to me and I have a track record that they are going to sell, even if it's for a small loss, because I know the ones that do sell in time are going to more than make up for that and some. Okay. And so here I have a product in front of me. It's not an advent calendar. This was a product I recently made a video about. It's a seasonal item, so it's not apples to apples, but it could help paint the picture. So we're looking at a 3-month snapshot. Far right is today. And here is when people started having it in stock, October 6th, where you see where my mouse is, okay? And so from here, I'm highlighting it. Excuse me. I'm highlighting it. It's just been an incredible sharp incline in the amount of sellers. Makes sense. Seasonal grocery product. It's not here for a long time. It's hit the marketplace, right? So the people that got it here were selling it for 21. Now some of them have sold as low as 11 and 14, right? And if you span back a year, which you should for seasonal items, this helps paint more of a picture. The amount of sellers is going to continue to increase basically until this point in January. And then it's a steady decrease from there on out. Okay. And so, anyway, I like to pay attention to what the price does during that time too. So, again, it was selling at the high recently for like, here's 19, $20 and change. And then it went to 11.49, 13, 11, and then back up again, started creeping up as supply went down. But notice it went down at the worst time. The absolute bottom was 11. Okay, it's not like it goes down to zero. It's not like people don't buy something. People, if there's typically a high demand for a product at a certain period of time, it doesn't just dwindle overnight. Okay, yes, it could decrease, and yes, the amount of sellers can increase, lowering the price, but you don't all of a sudden just lose everything just like that. And so that's why my take is to make a calculated decision. Don't try to time it just right. Get as high of a ROI as you can early on, and be willing to lose a couple bucks, but also calculate what is your worst case scenario. And there you can make risk or calculated assumptions that you're comfortable with. But there's not a one size fits all. But with Amazon in general, you can never try to play this perfect date game because you'll never get it right. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents on that or those specialty products for this time of year. I'm Jonathan. Questions, comments, topics, let me know. Have a great day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.